Greetings, I'm Maggie Ostara, and I am delighted to welcome you to What's New with Human Design. We follow the journey of the sun and the earth around the human design mandala. And today, January 27th, this is about a week after the Human Design New Year started, and the sun has just moved into the gate 19, and the earth has just moved into the gate 33. The gate 19 is a super sensitive gate. When people have this defined in their chart, sometimes they consider themselves highly sensitive people. And this sensitivity is emotional, but it's also energetic, and it can be tactile as well. So sometimes for people who have this defined in their chart, they really like super soft fabrics. They don't like labels or anything that is too constricting. They have a really profound sense on their skin. And so they're able to super enjoy things that feel good, like, yummy clothes or a beautiful bath or swimming in really clean water, that kind of thing. That they can also be bothered by things that are not as pleasant and not as comfortable. And that's part of the challenge of having this level of sensitivity. So for all of us, this right now, the energy of that 19 gate is super strong. The sun is lighting it up, and the sun is the most powerful of all of the energies of all the, it's not one of the planets per se, but it is one of the gods, if you will, that is working in our solar system. And it is the greatest of them all. And it is shining this beautiful light on the 19. And so for those of us who don't have it defined in our chart, we now have this access to this beautiful sensitivity that we may not otherwise experience that much. And so you can expect yourself over these next 6 days to be more attuned to the emotions of other people, potentially more attuned to your own emotions, to the energetic quality of those emotions. You also might find yourself more sensitive on your skin and what feels good to you. This is a gate that's also about intimacy and connection. And it's about being able to tune into, is it the right time? Is this the right person or the right people to be intimate with? And there are many forms of intimacy. I mean, physical intimacy or sexuality is one, but sharing are others. Doing things together, having shared time together is another kind of intimacy. So there's many different kinds of intimacy. And so this 19 can help you to be particularly attuned to whether or not it's the right time. Are they the right people, the right person in order for me to create or deepen my intimacy with? So be paying attention to that for yourself if you're undefined in this area or open. It's white in your chart. If it is defined, you will have the opportunity to help to uplift your relationship with this energy. So if it has been challenging for you, if you have felt, for example, that you needed to either keep people at a distance or you needed to avoid environments or certain situations because you're afraid of being hurt, or you're afraid of being damaged, which people who are really sensitive, that can be one of the beliefs that they have. And so you have the opportunity to help to recalibrate that into a higher expression of this energy. And to be able to expand and blossom your sensitivity with a greater sense of trust, a greater sense that you are protected and that you will be guided to when is it the right time or the right situation or the right people for you to engage with. So that's something that you want to check into for yourself if it's defined in your chart. Just because you have it defined, you do have a relatively consistent, even fixed way of experiencing that energy, but nothing in the chart is immutable. Just remember that. Everything, your experience of any of these energies can change. If it's defined, it's relatively fixed, but that doesn't mean you can't change it. And when it's transiting, it's like a portal is open and makes it easier for you to be able to work on shifting that kind of either shadow or disempowered aspect of that archetypal energy of the 19 and move it into a more elevated and a more empowered state. Jupiter is also in the 19, and Jupiter is our largest planet. It's the biggest influence that we have after the sun in some certain ways. The Earth is in other ways. And so the Jupiter is all about expansion. It's about big. And sometimes it's interpreted as blessings in the human design chart because Jupiter is considered a bestower of blessings. But there is also a shadow state and a disempowered state that has to do with excess. Like overdoing it, right? The expansion like goes too far. And it's like over drinking, overeating, overindulging, right? Binge watching, too many movies or too many television shows or whatever it is, right? It's just the excessive amount. So you want to look at that for yourself and see how that plays out in the 19. So if you are excessively sensitive, if you're feeling overly expanded in that area, you can kind of rein yourself in a little bit and manage that for yourself. See how you can create a bubble of light around yourself so that you can feel a bit more protected from other people's energies. Doing some long, deep breaths can also help you to build your auric field and your magnetic field, and that can help you to feel more stable in your own energy while you can still have that sensitivity. So, but if you are able to lean into Jupiter and the blessing of that sensitivity, it can blossom even more right now. This energy is grounded and stabilized by the 33, which is where the Earth is. The Earth is lighting up the gate 33. The 33 is on the throat center, where the 19 is on the root center. And so it is about communication. It's one of the 3 storytelling gates in the chart. And it's particularly about telling your own story or telling the story of others or telling the story of the collective, because this is a collective energy, that in a way that helps transmit a purpose or a lesson or some insight for us to have. So you can think about that in relation to your sensitivity, the sensitivity of others, how you feel about sensitivity, what your relationship with your own sensitivity is, to the degree that you're aware of it. You will be more aware of it during these 6 days. So you can retell a new story about your relationship to sensitivity, your own, someone else's. Maybe you don't have this defined in your chart. You were in relationship with somebody who has it defined in their chart. So you picked it up and amplified it. What was that like for you? What was that like for the other person? And really distill down what your experience was, so that in the telling of it, you're handing us your your insight, your brilliance, as far as your ability to take it to another level, to understand, what are we getting from this? What can we learn? What can we learn about ourselves? What can we learn about each other? And what can we learn about how to be in the world together? I think people who identify as highly sensitive people sometimes find it challenging to be in the world. For a variety of different reasons, whether that's noise or whether it's a lot of people and a lot of energy, whether that's Wi-Fi. I mean, there's all kinds of different things that people feel that when they're very sensitive that can be challenging for them. Even someone having an interpretation of their behavior, for example, which might not have meant to be critical, but came across that way, they received it that way. So it's an opportunity for us to explore how do we be in the world together, and for us who are not as sensitive to understand, embrace, and support those who are, and the ones who are more sensitive to be able to speak up about what's true. And of course, when we do this, we're always tuning in to right timing. So So Saturn and Pluto, who are two of our other big players, are in the same sign that they were, or the same gate that they were before. Saturn is still in the 41 and will be there for about another month. And then Pluto is still in the 61 and will be there until the middle of March, March 16th. So I talked about both of those in the last webinar that I did that was about the Human Design New Year. So if you're curious on my take of that, you can go check that out. All right, many blessings, much love. Until next time, when the sun and the earth move into new gates.